Yo, you checking out Ricky Rose's biography, Hurricanes. You watching Charles Arnaiz's World. Hit that thumbs up button. The reason why I'm talking like that, because we are reviewing Rick Ross's memoir, Hurricanes, because he's a boss. And the reason why he called it Hurricanes is because Florida has a lot of hurricanes. So we're going to go ahead and get into this book, and I'm going to come back with my reaction. Hit that thumbs up button. Huh. I can't even do the Rick Ross. Huh. I guess that's it. Anyway, let me go ahead and play it. Hit that thumbs up button.
Pop Warner and the Optimist League had weight limits for its age groups. I never fell within those limits. For a 13-year-old, the limit was something like 140 pounds. By the time I turned 13, I was already well over 200 pounds. My nickname was Fat Boy, but that was never really a source of shame for me. I wore it like a badge of honor. I looked like my daddy, and he'd been a jock, a veteran, an educated businessman, and an overall confident person. I inherited his confidence. To this day, the Roberts men carry their weight well. I wouldn't even say we're fat. We're just some burly, handsome niggas who smell good. I was too fat to play football with my friends, and that was not a great feeling. I wanted a trophy. There was a coach who let me practice with his team during the week, but come game day, I'd have to watch from the bleachers with all the other spectators. That was a little embarrassing. At one point, I bought a sauna suit at the Sports Authority to try and get the weight off. I quickly realized that wasn't happening. I wasn't even close. Once I got to high school, my weight no longer prevented me from playing football. Instead, it became an asset. Alfonso Morgan was in the same boat as me. I don't remember how big Fonzo was when we first met during tryouts our freshman year, but by senior year, I was 6'2", 292 pounds, and he was something like 6'5", 330.
Dang,
We were some big boys.
Hell yeah.
It took a special type of person to coach the Carroll City Chiefs. Our team was made up of a bunch of wild niggas. We used to break into our rival schools at night and shatter the trophy cases and spray the fire extinguishers everywhere. We vandalized the whole place. The one man who could keep us under control was Walt Big Money Frazier, one of the great high school football coaches in Florida State history. The nickname was a joke. We called Coach Frazier Big Money because he wore the same clothes and train conductor hat every day. We never saw him spend a dime. We figured Frazier must have a lot of paper stacked up somewhere. Frazier taught us the game of football, but he taught us more than that. For boys like me and Fonzo, my daddy had moved away and Fonzo's was dead. He was a father figure. He showed us how to become men and instilled in us the value of hard work and discipline. Frazier ran practice like a drill sergeant, and he took the same approach with us off the field. One time, Fonzo and I were acting up in English class, and our teacher asked him to intervene. He came up to us during practice that afternoon. "I told Miss Maniscalco to send you two jackasses to my office the next time y'all want to act up," he started. "When you get there, I'm going to turn over my desk. Then I'm going to break the legs off the table and give them to you so that you can defend yourself from me." Frazier wasn't bluffing. The man was fearless. There was one time a shootout broke out in the stands during a game against our rivals, Miami Northwestern. Once niggas started shooting, everybody hit the deck. Everybody except for Frazier, that is. He didn't even budge. "Coach, get down," one of us shouted out. "We need you." "I bleed orange and black," Frazier yelled back. I wore number 61, a tribute to the highway my granddaddy took from Clarksdale to Memphis to go to work. Once I learned the fundamentals, I started running through my opponents. The Chiefs' offensive line was mean as hell, and we were hitting so many pancake blocks we became known throughout our conference as the IHOP Boys. I got pretty good. My senior year, I was named All-Day First-Team Offense by the Miami Herald. There were a lot of people who believed I had a bright future as a football player. Coach Frazier, my teammates, my classmates, my mama and sister. I believed in myself, too. But I never got the recognition from the person I think I wanted it from most. My father. Our relationship had been at a stalemate since he moved away, and it hurt that he never came down for one of my games. I wanted for Big Brewster to see what his boy was doing on the football field. One thing that I wish I could change, just to see my daddy waving at a football game. Just to see my daddy standing when they say my name. Walk me to the locker room and say, "Son, good game." You make a tackle, but nobody there to clap. So I'm writing down my feelings. Never knew it was a rap. I'm only human. Triller, 2008. As much as I loved playing football, I didn't have the tunnel vision focus and total dedication to the game you need to excel at the highest level. By the time I got to high school, I already had several extracurricular activities going on. I'd graduated from selling nicks and dimes in the Matchbox and was starting to touch some weight. One of my first times doing so came about while I was hanging at Jabbar's house one afternoon and saw Big Mike disposing of several trash bags of weed. Mike was getting a lot of weed from the Bahamas and Jamaica then. He had his own speedboat and would zoom down there and pick up loads himself. This particular batch had gone bad. The air conditioning in Mike's house had blown out, running nearly 200 pounds of it. "You really about to throw all that away?" I asked. "It ain't no good," he said. "We could put carrots in it," I told him. "I heard carrots preserve weed." Mike knew where I was going, and he wasn't trying to hear any of it. He immediately turned his attention to Jabbar. "Boy, don't you dare go trying to sell this garbage with this dumb nigga," he said. "He's gonna leave the house with $1,000 worth of this bullshit and come back with $995 worth, $5 in cash, and a lump on his forehead." I wasn't going to be dissuaded. For Mike, a loss like this was not the end of the world. It was the cost of doing business. But to me, that was a lot of money to be tossing in the dumpster. So I climbed in there and took it all out. It would take a while, but me and Jabbar ended up selling every ounce of that rotten weed. We called it Headbanger Boogie because smoking that shit would give you a headache. The carrots definitely didn't fix the problem. More weight meant more money, and more money meant more problems. By 9th grade, Jabbar had dropped out of high school and was 10 toes deep in the streets. I was still in school and playing football, but I had at least one foot firmly planted in. Things were escalating. Jabbar was living in a rooming house in Liberty City and had set up. Eventually, the niggas who claimed the area caught wind that someone was short-stopping their block. These niggas hustled outside the store up the street, and Jabbar was catching their customers before they got there with better dope at better price.
Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Appreciate it. Let's continue on.
Prices. They showed up to Jabbar's spot and told him he had to find somewhere else to sling. Jabbar did find a different spot. He stopped selling out of the rooming house and moved over to the park. But he must have still been affecting these dudes' pockets because they showed up there and said he couldn't hustle there either. "We gonna see where I can and can't hustle at then," Jabbar told him. At that point, Jabbar called me and told me the situation we had on our hands. I picked him up and we drove over to the store these niggas hustled at. I had Jabbar wait in the car while I hollered at the leader of the crew, who had told Jabbar to step down. I let him know that was my brother, and any problems he had with him, he had with me too. Things got tense, but we got out of there before anything other than words were exchanged. I must have said something about us claiming Carroll City because a couple hours later, Booby was knocking at the door of Jabbar's rooming house. "What's up with you niggas?" "Nothing. What happened?" "You gonna sit here and tell me you two ain't got no problems with these niggas around here?" "Well, yeah, me and Fat Boy." "I already know," Booby said, "because these niggas were talking about running up in this house and killing y'all. So what we finna do?" "Nothing. They heard you were from Carroll City, so their big homies checked in with me, and I told them to give you a pass. But y'all niggas is wild. Jabbar, you're short-stopping where you lay your head at. And, Fat Boy, you out here driving your mama's car and pulling up on niggas. Both of y'all need to fucking relax." This wasn't the first time Booby had to come to our defense. On another occasion, Jabbar and I did a drive-by and sprayed up the block of this guy who had disrespected us. Nobody got hit because we weren't aiming at anyone. We were just trying to send a message not to fuck with us. But the message got a little lost in translation. The nigga we rode up on also happened to have problems with Booby for different reasons. But they thought our drive-by was done on Booby's behalf. When Booby...
Wait a minute, hold up. Let me. Did he just say he rolled up on these dudes? So he selling drugs, and he pulling up on dudes in his mama car. I guess he's in high school, but that's weird. You putting up, you checking people in your mama car.
We found out these niggas were mounting an assault because these two young boys in a gray Cadillac opened fire on them. He came to see us. "Look, I ain't gonna be taking on all this beef for you niggas if y'all ain't even getting out the car and killing," he told us. "You get out, you walk up on your target, and you shoot. You understand?" I got arrested for the first time when I was 16. Once again, I'd taken my mama's baby lack out for a spin. Me and Fonzo were on our way to a house party, and we stopped at a trap in Opelika to get a bag of weed. As soon as we made the hand-to-hand, the crackers pulled us over. It was a sting. The baby lac got impounded, and Fonzo and I were taken to Opelika police lockup, where we were booked on drug and firearm charges. I had a .22 in the car when they pulled us over. After we got photographed and fingerprinted, they were fitting to transfer us to Miami-Dade County Jail with the real wolves. We tried telling them we were only 16, but Fonzo and I were so big they didn't believe us. Luckily, my mama arrived at the station before that happened and bailed us out. She got us a lawyer who was able to get the case sealed. That was the first time my mama had an idea that I was getting into some trouble.
Wow.
Even then, I played it off pretty good. Fonzo had taken the gun charge, and I'd taken the one for drug possession, so she still didn't think I was doing much more than smoking a little weed. I still received recruitment letters from a handful of Division I and II schools that were interested in having me play football. Florida State University, Colorado State, Clemson, but everybody thought that I was headed to the University of Miami. At school, I got another nickname, Big East, because it seemed like a foregone conclusion I would be joining the NCAA's Big East Conference. My mama felt differently. She wasn't too keen on me staying in Miami. Aside from my arrest, I'd done a good job keeping her in the dark about what I was up to. But she knew I didn't have to be a dope boy to get killed, and that I didn't have to be a killer to catch a 187. Her fear was that I would get caught up in something that had nothing to do with me. That I would be riding in one of my homies' cars when some shit popped off. Depending on which way it went, I could either catch a stray bullet or a charge of accessory to murder. My mama also wasn't comfortable with me attending what she considered a white school. Our family had a history of attending black colleges. She knew a guy named Wayne Campbell, who was the assistant football coach at Albany State University, an HBCU in Georgia. Wayne was able to get the school to offer me a full ride, and he pitched me on the idea of joining Albany State's Golden Rams football team. The Rams had won their conference the season prior, and several former players had gone on to the NFL. Wayne told me I'd have an opportunity to make a real impact at Albany State instead of having to ride the bench at one of the bigger D1 schools. Honestly.
Anyway, y'all, we're going to stop it right there. This is Rick Ross's Hurricanes. I didn't know he played football. But, I mean, come on, he's a pretty big dude, so I would be surprised if he didn't play football in high school. But anyway, what y'all think about this book, man? It's pretty good. You know, it's actually a really good book, man. If y'all want to check it out, they got it on Spotify. You can also check it out on Audible to finish listening to the rest of it. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. And I'll talk to y'all later.